And we're live. Very good. Everything seems to be working. Don't have anyone here yet, but hopefully somebody will up soon. Once again, I neglected to post any kind of notice for this live stream, so hopefully people see it. It has become a regular Tuesday thing. Hey, Delvis, how you doing? Let's see here. Just gonna do something real quick here. And Josiah, hey. Hello. And Jan Eric Penholt, hello from Montreal, Canada. Hello, Montreal, Canada from the United States. And Gaz, how you doing? And Bill, all right, cool. The gang's all here. Excellent, excellent. Okay, I was doing something really quick. One moment. And then I will give you my full attention. Pensive Ruin, there you go. And Matt, hey, nice to see you. John. Player 3 Productions, howdy doody. And there's Green Yeti, one of our favorites. Thank you, Yan. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Hey, Beach. From Portland, Oregon. Hello, Portland, Oregon from the United States. Hi, Port. Actually, I like Portland. I've been to Portland before. Hey, Benny. Live stream with JoeFan82. Yeah, hey, that'd be fun. I like JoeFan82. I like working with him. He's a pretty cool guy. Lance O'Taw. Hey, Lance, how you doing? From Fredericksburg, Virginia. Hello from the United States. That's going to be my running gag for the evening, I guess. Okay. Let's see. Let's just plop this into Facebook here. Hello, McDowell. How you doing? And Anne-Marie. Hey, everybody's here. That's awesome. Okay, see you, Anne-Marie. You can't miss that. Yeah, the John Timmer's video. He's got the two-parter on the Belgian catalog. That was exceptional. When do we didn't get anything quite like that here. Now, sometimes, like in the store catalogs, like your Sears and your Service Merchandise catalogs, they would have some nice diorama displays with the toys, but it was like 1/2 of one page at the most. That was like a book. The Belgian catalog was like a whole book with some incredible photography. Toy photography is becoming kind of popular now with Instagram and whatnot. Well, they got a pretty good start there in Belgium with that catalog. What other interest do I have other than G.I. Joe? Albert asks. I like movies. I like old movies. I like watching bad movies. Just hanging out with the fam. I don't like play video games very much. I just don't usually have time to do it. Doing the videos every week takes up a lot of my free time. But I do like to watch a movie every once in a while, and I like watching. I know this is kind of silly, but I like watching other people's YouTube stuff, stuff other than G.I. Joe stuff. I watch quite a variety of YouTube stuff. Yeah, that's what I spend a lot of time doing. You got Jace Traber got Scarlet at Service Merchandise back in 1983. Now, Service Merchandise is a bit of a blast from the past. We haven't had a Service Merchandise here for quite some time. That's Me has excellent videos. A channel very much worth checking out. Okay, I think we are in good shape. Okay, Snakebit Goat says, friend who was a Marine thinks Leatherneck is cooler than Gung Ho. Now, I'm not going to like get between any Marines arguing who's better, Leatherneck or Gung Ho. I like them both. Um, I'm more familiar with Gung Ho just because, you know, he was around longer, but I always liked Leatherneck too. And Leatherneck was given, I think, a really interesting personality, both in the comic books and the cartoons. So Leatherneck's pretty cool. Hey Bjorn, how you doing? And Nyquist, hey, how you doing too? You want to start a YouTube channel too? Okay, go for it. It's not hard to start one. You just got to gotta put in the time. Hey Jenna, driving in Boston traffic. And the human mechanism. And I saw Joe Motion Videos was here too. This is great. It's nice to see everyone. The human mechanisms videos are excellent. They're going really well. Biggie Pine's been a long time supporter of the channel. Right now, I do have stuff to talk about. I do have GI Joe stuff to talk about, but right now I'm just saying hello to everyone because I'm seeing a lot of names that are familiar to me and people that I like to see. So hello everyone. And there's Adam Verwolf, who I keep calling Airwolf. But hi, Adam Airwolf. Nice to see you. So yeah, hey, this is cool. We've got a lot of really cool people in here. Newer zombie vipers that are more like bio vipers. Yeah, zombies in G.I. Joe is not really my thing, so it might not be the best for me to pass judgment on them. I know a lot of people like them. Codename Players, hello. And Brandon, yeah, nice collection, Brandon. Team Outreach Army, Green Yeti says. TOA. That's true, Dr. Mindbender is a zombie. Yeah, now that's something that I didn't know, of course, because I had stopped reading the comics before that storyline. So when I was looking into it, reading some of the later issues and learning more about Dr. Mindbender, and I saw that, all right, well, Dr. Mindbender died. How is it that he is in these later issues? And so I had some gaps in the collection, so I went and found out, and it's like, really, they did that? They did that in the comic book? My theory is that I don't think Larry really liked Mindbender as a character, and as soon as Hasbro told him that these characters are not going to have action figures, he killed a bunch of them off. So Raptor and Crocmaster and Voltar, all those guys that were in the landlocked freighter, and then Battle Force 2000 all gets killed off. But then of course some of those did end up having later action figures, which is a little bit funny. Kind of you have to figure out a way to work that back into the story because he kind of already killed them. So you do things like resurrect Dr. Mindbender from the dead. Alberto says, will you review the new Mark Bellomo book on G.I. Joe? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. This will be the first Mark Bellomo Ultimate Guide that I actually have a physical copy of. The older ones are out of print and it's really expensive to get them. But I pre-ordered the new one, the 3rd edition, hardcover, and so as soon as I get it, yeah, I'll get it in front of the camera and I'll give it a review. I'm really excited about it. I think it's pretty cool. Do I read the IDW G.I. Joe comics? Not yet. I mean, I've read some of them, but I haven't read a lot of them yet. And before you say anything, I know I have been strongly encouraged to read those. I just haven't found the time to do it. I've been told that the IDW series by Larry is really good. I just haven't done it yet, so please forgive me. I will get to it. That's right, Albert. He did give Raptor a pivotal role. Yeah, Raptor had something to do. Hey, Max Rebo's Ghost Music. Hey, nice to see you. Airborne and Wild Bill, best team in a helicopter. Put in my 118 Apache. Hey, that's cool. You have a 118 scale Apache. That's awesome. But yeah, Wild Bill and Airborne. To me, that's it. Pilot and gunner. That's that's the team. How do I display my file cards? Well, I don't really have them on display, but actually, if you give me just a second, I'll go get them and I'll show you how I have them stored right now. Hang on. Time out, time out. Talk amongst yourselves. This will take just about 7 seconds. I'll be right back. I stepped on bubble wrap. I'm back. Okay, anyway, this is what I got. I got this big metal tray that I found just at a resale shop, and I have them divided by year with these index cards for dividers. So that's what I'm doing with the file cards, and that's the way that I found that it's just easier to get access to them when I need them for reviews. Yeah, that's mainly what I use them for, is for reviews. I don't really display them. And I've got some stuck in here in the front that I just haven't filed away yet, so I just need to put them where they belong. But I get in a hurry. And one of the biggest problems that I have is putting things away. When I'm done with the review, stuff gets left out here. So in fact, what you can't see, what's off camera, is just a bunch of stuff from other videos that I've done recently that I just haven't put away yet. Like, I have most of the 1982 lineup just sitting here, and I just haven't put them away yet. Big tragic one says, "Hail Cobra, how's it going? Do I have space left in my house?" I do, Byron, I do. But the collection is taking up more and more space. So, yeah, space is an issue. McDowell says, used a photo box to store your cards in. Full cards were stored elsewhere. Yeah. Yeah, a photo box actually would be about right. In fact, I used to have my file cards in a black metal box that was about the size of a photo box. But I switched to this mainly because I wanted to keep the full card backs with the cut out cards and also keep them in order. So I went with this. And this isn't the best system, but this is what I've got right now. Of course, no system works very well if I don't, put things away. Okay, Human Mechanism says, speaking of space, do you prefer the Defiant or the Crusader? Well, I don't have the Crusader yet. I'm interested in getting it. It's on the radar. I do have the Defiant incomplete, which I still want to get complete and review at some point. But as to which one I prefer, I'm not sure. The Crusader, of course, was just the shuttle. But it had a little bit, different features. It had the shuttle thing that was actually the drone from the Cobra Night Raven. I'd be interested in seeing how that all works together, but I don't have one yet. So to answer that question, I guess I'd have to say the Defiant, but only because that's what I have at the moment. But I'd like to look at seeing them side by side. Did Green Yeti mention Team Globulus? Green Yeti is on Team Globulus. Comic Tropes is here. Another excellent channel on YouTube. And why do I got to do these while you're at work? Well, for one thing, you're on the West Coast. So why do you got to be on the West Coast? We got another guy in here from Portland, Oregon. Everybody's on the West Coast. Well, you know what? You just got to move closer to the middle of the country. Yeah, McGowan says 3D Joe's has better quality cards than Yojo. Yeah, the 3D Joe's website has much better scans of both the cards and the blueprints and instruction sheets. And in fact, if I need the instructions for something and I don't have them, I usually go to 3D Joe's because their scans are nice and good and you can read them. 3D Joe's, excellent website, excellent. Okay, Jeff is here thanks to a rain out with baseball. I arranged that, so you're welcome. I called the mayor out there in wherever you live, and I said, hey, let's get some rain in going in here. You got baseball, it conflicts with my live stream. The live stream takes precedent, so yeah. Hey, we got some East Coasters. We've got Team Globulus. You keep at it. I know there are fans of Globulus. I'm not one of them, but there are fans of Globulus, and you keep at it, and you will get more people on Team Globulus. You will. Thank you. Thank you, Comic Tropes, for the super chat. What is this? Who is the handsomest G.I. Joe and who is the ugliest? Oh, wow. The handsomest G.I. Joe. I tell you what. I tell you who I think the handsomest G.I. Joe is. It's the one that I reviewed, Sci-Fi. The one that comes with I'm blanking on the name. Sci-Fi version, what? Version 3? Has that just gorgeous, beautiful hair, that feathered hair. What a handsome gentleman that is. Yeah, the Starfighter. I'm blanking on the name. I reviewed it and it dropped out of my head. But yeah, I think that version of Sci-Fi quite the dapper gentleman. As far as the ugliest, that's more difficult because ugly can mean a couple of different things. I mean, is like the whole figure ugly, like it has an ugly uniform and ugly colors and everything like that, or is like the face sculpt just kind of ugly? If you're talking about like just facial features, I'd have to say Armadillo needs to be in that conversation. Yeah, a steamroller is, yeah, but as far as like taking the whole figure into consideration, like the ugliest, that's really tough. There is, let's see, Night Force version of the Night Creeper, I think. Now I'm forgetting, but there are some Night Force, or not Night Force, Ninja Force. Sorry, Ninja Force figures that need to be in contention. The Shadow Ninja figures, that may be cheating because the Shadow Ninja figures have that gimmick, but they're pretty bad. Jedi DB Cross Country. Now, here's the thing about Cross Country. I did kind of say that Cross Country was a little odd looking in my original review of that toy, but I have retracted that because Cross Country is sculpted to look like a real person. Cross Country has the likeness of Guy Cassaday, who designed some of the G.I. Joe vehicles, and I felt bad about calling Cross Country ugly when he's basically a real guy. So I'm sorry, Guy Cassaday. It's not you. It's not you. It's the figure. Road Pig is unique looking. He's got an interesting look himself. Yeah, that's an interesting conversation. Kevin Hines, a super chat for €5. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. And Lance agrees about Road Pig. Have you seen the Netflix show about how G.I. Joe came out? Alberto, are you talking about The Toys That Made Us, that series? Yeah, I have seen that, and that episode is really good. Yeah, it's really good, and they're coming out with a 3rd season now. I think that's a really cool series. Now, it's a series, I think, more for, like, people who aren't the hardcore collectors. A lot of, like, the really hardcore collectors and fans probably already know a lot of that stuff, but for somebody who doesn't know and is being introduced to that information, for the first time, it's very informative, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's really nicely put together. And as much as I liked the G.I. Joe episode, I think my favorite episode might actually be the Barbie episode, because I didn't know really very much about Barbie, because why would I? But I think it had a lot of information. I learned the most probably from that episode. So that was really interesting. Plus, there's a lady in that episode that has a chair in the shape of a naked woman. and it's like obscene. It's the weirdest, strangest thing I've ever seen. So if you watch that episode, you just can't take your eyes off of that. But yeah, it's a good series. I like the series, and I most enjoy the episodes that are about things that I don't already know a lot about, so that I can learn more. So yeah. So that's a good series, and if you haven't checked out the Barbie episode, worth checking out. Very interesting. Um, do I have any insight when the next batch of figures will be released? Gaming first responder. My understanding is that they have a planned movie for the year 2020, and there will be some toys that are released to coincide with that movie. So still a couple years away is my understanding. Everyone watch Larry Hama in MASH, or his cameo is as himself in the anime. Okay, Comic Tropes brings up here something kind of fun and interesting. Larry Hama has been in several movies and TV shows, including, I think everybody knows the episode of MASH that he was in. You probably know about that, and it's kind of a cameo. He also, though, does a cameo of himself in this really odd movie called The Ambulance. That's a strange movie. That may actually be close to a So Bad It's Good movie. It was different. For some reason that has nothing to do with the actual plot of the movie, the protagonist in that movie works as a comic book artist at Marvel Comics. So you have a ton of amazing cameos from Marvel people, like and just people that were around the Marvel bullpen. So yeah, that's a thing that happened. But the fact that the guy works specifically at Marvel seems a little bit random. But yeah, it's in there. Oh hey, Marvel and DC met Jim Shooter. That would have been interesting. People have mixed feelings about Jim Shooter, but of course I grew up and really got into comics during Jim Shooter's era, his tenure at Marvel Comics. So meeting Jim Shooter, that'd be pretty cool. And hey, speaking of Jim Shooter, a few years ago he put up a blog post and gave some behind-the-scenes insider information about G.I. Joe at Marvel Comics. So yeah, Jim Shooter, he's been in the industry for such a long time. He's got, he knows where all the bodies are buried, I guess. Hey, EVGMZ, how you doing? How do I feel about Micronauts getting a cartoon and possibly new toys next year? Hope G.I. Joe returns sooner than expected. I don't know if Micronauts does well. Certainly, Hasbro is not opposed to making money. So if Micronauts does well, then it could result in more G.I. Joe. You never know. If Micronauts doesn't do well, then that actually could be a problem for it. So we'll see. We will see. In the United States, I think Micronauts doesn't have as much name recognition as G.I. Joe does. But I know that it has fans. Micronauts has fans. Will I do a live show with others such as JoeFan82? I would be happy to if anybody wants to do a live show. Since I'm doing my live show on my phone, I'd have to figure out how to get guests on the show. I'd have to figure out the logistics of it. But I would love to do a live show with JoeFan82 or maybe with Timmer. Of course, Timmer is in Europe, so he's probably asleep when this is going on. But if I could figure out a way to do it, I would love to. That would be awesome. Yeah, I haven't got to any of the G.I. Joe topics that I was going to talk about. And now I'm not sure I even remember what they are. Sometimes hello Green Yeti, welcome back. I have this problem, right? For any given review, I have to get out a lot of toys that I need for reference. Who asked that? Oh, Primal Savage asks, when do you plan on reviewing the G.I. Joe movie? It's on the agenda. I have a pretty good idea of when I'm going to do it, but that's going to be a big task. It's going to be a lot of work, so probably going to have to stretch that out over time. But it will be this year. It has to be this year. I promised it this year. It will be this year. What's still on my Joe bucket list? As far as the items to get, the 1982 Cobra Missile Command playset, that cardboard playset, that's still a big one. As far as like not toys, but Joe related things to do, meeting Sergeant Slaughter is still on my bucket list. I've never met him before, and so that would be really exciting. And it looks like I'll have the opportunity to meet Sergeant Slaughter, almost had Sergeant Savage, to meet Sergeant Slaughter at Joe Fest next year. And as we get closer to Joe Fest in June of next year, I'm going to be talking about it a lot more because I should be there, and so a whole bunch of other G.I. Joe related personalities, and it should be a lot of fun. Do I have a list of figures top, middle, and bottom? I've never actually made a list. I have never actually compiled that. If I did, what I think that you would find is that most of them are in the middle. It's basically more or less a normal distribution curve, where you have a few that are bottom tier, most of them are in the middle, and there's probably more in the top tier than there are in the bottom tier, but that's mainly because I like G.I. Joe. So of course I'm going to like more than I dislike. So yeah. So anyway, when I'm thinking about what to talk about on here, I have to keep in mind that I usually do these live streams after I have recorded like a short video, like a quick shot or something like that, and so usually that's what's on my mind. But then I have to remember, you guys haven't seen that yet. So if I talk about that, I'd be talking about stuff that you haven't seen yet. So, I've got, like I said, I've got almost the entire 1982 G.I. Joe lineup here, just sitting here, because I used them to record something, but it's something that you haven't seen yet, and I don't like to give away surprises. I won't tell you what it is, but this isn't going to give away anything, because even though you are seeing the figures that are in that particular video, just knowing what the figures are won't give you any clue as to what it is. And it's still here. I haven't put it away. I've got, here's one. Here's one I like to show off sometimes. It's Starduster. But this is the one that doesn't have accessories. I have version 1A that does have the accessories. And hey, since Chris Mahalik is here, there is an allegation that version 1B of Starduster is not really even a thing. That it's a kit bash, and that it wasn't actually released by Hasbro in that form. Now, Yojo.com has a picture of a sealed-in bag version 1B, but those can be resealed. So that is a controversy that I will have to address when I review Starduster. But I have occasionally seen some figures that claim to be a Starduster version 1B, and so I'll probably still try to get one. But we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this little controversy about whether version 1B of Starduster is a real release or if it was kit bashed by collectors later. Sergeant, no, I accidentally started a Sergeant Savage discussion. I actually like the Sergeant Savage figures, the toys themselves. I actually like them a lot. I mean, they don't fit with G.I. Joe; they're in a different scale, but they have a real authentic military look and feel to them. And sorry, I had to reconnect there. Hello, Styles. Hey, how you doing? A lot of more modern action figures don't really feel like toys. They feel a little more like collectibles and display pieces. But Sergeant Savage still felt like a toy that was meant to be played with. The problem with Sergeant Savage that I had was not so much with the toys, it was with the concept of it, kind of borrowing or lifting wholesale from some other things. Hey, it's Mike Lopez. How you doing? Hey, good to see you here. This is awesome. We've got some great people. I'm so happy to have all of you here. This is really cool. This is why I love doing these live streams. Because of my schedule, you know, I'm at a new position at work. I'm having to learn a lot. I'm having to work a lot, and of course, I'm putting together the videos as well. I haven't had a lot of time to like read comments and things like that on YouTube. So this is finally an opportunity for me to interact with you guys in ways that I'm not able to do other times in the week. Oh, Mike Lopez is at work right now. We'll get to work, sir. Actually, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're taking a break from work to join us. And Adam, yeah, thank you. I am better. It took some action on my part to make things better. If I hadn't done what I did, I don't think things would have gotten better. But I tell you, you know, working for the right people and doing the right kind of job makes a big difference. So yeah, we're in a much better place now. And thank you to everyone who lended their support and their kind words through that recent difficult time. But we're doing better now, and I'm trying to chug along and keep joining everyone every week and keep new content coming out because I love doing it. It is fun. Somebody asked a question. Kevin Hines' channel has rejuvenated him. That's fantastic. I have healing powers. That's so cool. Subscribed a few months ago, began the task of rebuilding a childhood collection. That's cool. Well, I hope you enjoy your collecting journey and have fun doing that. I love collecting this stuff. Certainly not the only way to enjoy G.I. Joe, but it's a great way to actually have the physical toys in your hands that you played with way back then. Marvel and DC788, thank you for your support. That really does mean a lot to me. You know, years from now, I'm going to look back at, you know, this year. I'm going to look back at it probably as being kind of a tough year, but I'm also going to look back and see a lot of kindness and a lot of support from the people who watch here. So that is something that I'm going to remember for a long time. Hey, Subozer still has his childhood Joes. That's really cool. I wish I still did. But that's awesome if you've been able to hold on to them. That's really cool. CRISPR asks what I think of the 89 Raider. I don't have the Raider complete, but I do have some thoughts about it. I'm going to save my thoughts for when I actually do the review. But I have some thoughts about it, and I have some positive thoughts about it. The Raider, an incomplete Raider, was sent to me like a couple years ago, and I keep intending to complete it so that it'll be ready to review, but things keep getting in the way. Things come up, and so I just haven't been able to prioritize that. But I do look forward to reviewing the Raider at some point. Thank you, Marvel and DC. I try not to be excessively harsh. I'm sure some people think that I am harsh, but I do, even if I have a negative review, I still try to be fair. Sometimes it's hard to find something positive to say about some things, but I really do try to be fair. But one thing that I think has become evident over the years that I've done this is that for some folks, it doesn't matter how fair you are. They really don't like being disagreed with. And so if you have an opinion that doesn't match up with theirs, they're not going to like that too much. And you get a very negative reaction out of some people. But even at that, most people get it. Most people are pretty fair-minded themselves. So really, most of the reaction's been pretty good. Hello, Chili Swerve. Welcome. Oh, hey. I posted a picture of this on Facebook and Twitter. I got this guy at an antique shop. It's the only Joe that I found. I replaced his O-ring because his O-ring was pretty much gone. He's barely hanging together. But hey, check that out. I have a Python Patrol officer, but without accessories. But the figure's still pretty good. Let's see. You guys are having conversations on your own, and that's just fine. John disagrees with that. Well, I disagree with your disagreement. And thank you, Adam. Thank you very much. Yeah, what else have I got just kind of laying around here? I've got the screwdriver that I use to repair my Joes. I don't know where I got this thing. I mean, it's got, what is this? Landtech Incorporated, some kind of a company. But I have no idea who that company is, and so it's just got this thing. And look at this. I'm down to 2 O-rings. I need to get more O-rings. So yeah, I've got just stuff around here. And I don't want to show you too much of it because I want you guys to still be surprised at the stuff that I'm reviewing. Yeah, Woodman, on eBay you can get some O-rings for pretty decent price. So I picked up some eBay O-rings myself. Oh, Andrew Baker, I never said hello to you. Well, hello, Andrew. Now the party can begin. Andrew is here, and we've said hello. Thank you for joining. Ever had a Joe you could just not get apart? Well, I mean, obviously, Zartan, Zarana, and Xandar, they don't come apart. There was a Scarlet action figure with the nail so rusted out and so stripped that I couldn't get it. And it really needed an O-ring too. That was years ago. But there was a Scarlet figure that I did something with. Maybe I sold it or something, but I could not get it. I couldn't get it apart. The screw was just too far gone. Marvel and DC had ideas for G.I. Joe customs. Well, customs are cool. Yeah, Beach. Yeah, that is true. I do try to emphasize that. I mean, obviously not everybody's going to agree, and that's fine. I mean, I have respect for someone who can listen to someone else's opinion and absorb it, but still be able to, form their own opinion. So, I don't need everyone to agree with me. And, I think in some ways it's a little bit of a hindrance to my popularity because I do have opinions and I feel that I should express those opinions. Not every reviewer does. If you look at some other toy reviews, not specifically G.I. Joe toy reviewers, but other toy reviewers on YouTube, some of them just don't seem to have opinions. They just show the thing and they talk about it a little bit and everything's great and nothing's ever wrong with it. And that's fine. And some of those guys are really popular. But I just can't do that. I feel like, I'm trying to look at these and analyze them, put them in context and, talk about them. And I feel like it would be a little bit of a cop-out if I did all of that, but I didn't actually come right down and tell you what I think of it, It's like academic writing, right? In academic writing, you have to have a position, right? You have to take a position and defend that position. It doesn't, It doesn't mean there can't be disagreement or other opinions, um, but you know, at some point, you know, you gotta say something. Anyway, that's my approach to it. Um, Thank you, Josiah. I appreciate it. Um, okay, Greeny Eddie says, which girl in G.I. Joe do I think is the best? I like pretty much all of them, but I still got to go back to Scarlet. Scarlet's my favorite character. Now, the Scarlet action figure, both of the Scarlet action figures were not great, but I like the character of Scarlet. As far as the best figure goes, there aren't a lot to choose from, but I agree with Josiah. Lady J is probably the best figure, the best execution of a female figure in G.I. Joe. Although the Baroness is a pretty good figure too. But the Lady J figure, excellent detail, nice accessories, good sculpting on it. It looks really good. As far as characters go, you know, it's hard to beat Scarlet. She's one of the most developed characters in the entire in the whole mythos. So it's hard to not like Scarlet for me anyway. And Paul Cheek likes the Baroness. Well, there's nothing wrong with liking the Baroness. The Baroness was an excellent action figure and also a very well developed character, a very interesting character. CoverGirl, I like CoverGirl. CoverGirl is maybe a little lacking some parts of the figure. I think the head sculpt could be better. I like the utilitarian look of the figure though. It's really nicely done. So yeah, I can't forget about CoverGirl. I like CoverGirl. This is weird. A 13-year-old and a bunch of old men talking about G.I. Joe girls. Yeah, that's not weird. That's not weird at all. Zorana is so good they did her twice. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, oh wait. Did somebody say JoeFan82? Is JoeFan82 here? Hey, JoeFan82 is here. Hey, cool. Well, okay, and he's here picking up dinner. Well, cool. Well, I haven't had dinner yet. I'll have dinner after I'm done here. Oh, well, okay, there was something that I was going to talk about, something I was going to mention at least. It's not directly related to G.I. Joe, but it's in the category of I can't see any video without making a mistake. I make at least one mistake in every video. And apparently Nyquist thinks everything is overrated tonight. Well, you know what? Mistakes are overrated too. In the most recent video, I wanted to put a tribute to my grandfather, and I did a typo in it. I put that he passed away in 2008 instead of 2018. Way to go. And of course, YouTube will not let me edit a video that's already been uploaded, so the mistake is just there right at the front of the video, and that's really... I'm very frustrated with myself. That is a video that I really only just barely got done on time. I had to, you know, I was editing and rendering it like right up to the wire, and I just missed it. But that's the kind of mistake that I'm actually thinking about re-uploading the video or uploading a corrected version of it, because I don't want to lose all of the comments on the original video. So I don't think I'd take it down, but I feel like I ought to correct that. But yeah, it seems like in every, like, which video was it? Was one not too long ago. Oh, it was the Heat Viper video where I called Metalhead heavy metal, and I did it twice. And not only did I say it, because I said it and I was typing the text overlays as I was listening to the video, I said it and then I typed it wrong too into the video. That is frustrating. So these are the things that annoy me when I watch my own videos. I do kind of wish that there was some way YouTube had some mechanism for correcting some of that, but it really you just can't. You'd have to take the video down and re-upload it. But then if you do that, then you lose all of the comments and stuff. Um, yeah, Joe Fan, I have done that a couple of times, mentioned the correction in the description, and I also like do a pinned post, a pinned comment, so it's the first comment people see. If I don't do that, then what happens is I get like 50 comments all correcting me about the same thing. When I already know about it because I already read the first comment, and so I still get 50 more. Yeah, you can do that. But then, of course, if people don't watch the video on YouTube, if they watch it on another site where it's embedded or something like that, or they just don't go and read the comments or the description, and they never see the correction. That is a little bit of a frustration with YouTube. Mike Lopez, true story. Flint got his degree through correspondence courses. Yeah, I'll buy that. That seems like something Flint would do. Interesting. In the comic book series, again, I left the comic book series in the late 80s. I didn't carry on into the 90s, so I didn't see some of the story development. But in the 90s, as the series went on, Flint had some very interesting character development. He kind of became a real jerk in some of the later issues of the comic. I thought it was an interesting direction to go with Flint. What's the deal with all the comic book characters not being depicted as figures? I think my theory is Hasbro might have been concerned about having to pay royalties to Larry. So, like, sometimes they would, like on some of the October Guard characters, they released figures that were similar to some of the October Guard characters in the comic book, but a little different. That's my theory. I don't know if that's true or not, but there were a lot of characters in the comic that were not figures, and I think that's just because Larry was telling a broader story, and he just needed a bigger cast to play with. He needed a bigger cast of characters to work with. So he just made them up, and I guess that worked. Also, he needed characters that could have consequences, right? Because he wasn't allowed to kill off characters that had action figures that were still for sale. But he could create characters like Quinn and Dr. Venom, and they could die in the comic book without having any consequences in the action figure world. So you could do stories with those characters that you couldn't do with characters that actually had figures for sale. And Sub-Ozer likes Eco Warriors and Battle Force 2000. Well, you go for it. You keep liking those. Don't let anybody stop you. Oh, hey, who was it? I think it was Dell or might have been Brandon, but somebody in an email brought up an interesting question of why the G.I. Joe team would need all these sub-teams when G.I. Joe team itself is a team of specialists. So I thought that might be an interesting question to see what you guys thought about it. Now, G.I. Joe is made up of specialists. So if they're all specialists, why do they need even more specialized subgroups? An in-universe answer. Of course, the real answer is so that Hasbro could sell more toys. And also, like, reissue old toys with new colors and pretend that it's new. Hey, look, it's Tiger Force. It's exactly the same toys you bought a couple of years ago, but look, the colors are different, so now you got to buy them again. So that's the real reason. But as far as an in-universe reason, I thought it was an interesting question. G.I. Joe itself, it kind of assembles its team on a mission-by-mission basis, based on whatever specialties they think they will need on that particular mission. Yeah, Joe Fan, the sub teams are very specialists. Yes. Um, John, Battle Force 2000. There's a, Battle Force 2000 is not my favorite, but there's still a lot to like about Battle Force 2000. I maintain that Battle Force 2000 could have been a decent standalone toy line, not as part of GI Joe, but its own thing. If they had done Battle Force 2000 as its own thing, I think they might have had something there. But as part of GI Joe, it kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. Plus, the Future Fortress was kind of rinky-dink. Um, okay, Secret Rebel says your opinions are your opinions. Shouldn't have to worry about fans getting upset. Fans need to relax. It's toys. Globulus rules. All right. Thank you, UHCC. You're awesome. Thank you, Secret Rebel. I kind of feel the same way. Sometimes, though, when you're on this side of the camera, you do still feel a little bit of that heat when you express an opinion and a whole bunch of people don't like it. But it shouldn't matter. And we are still talking about toys. You're exactly right. But yeah, it shouldn't get to me, but sometimes a little bit it does. But I still feel like, to be honest and to be true and to to give you guys real honesty in my reviews, I still have to express my opinions, even if I know they're not going to be popular. So, for my channel, honesty is more important than popularity. Andrew didn't get the comic books, all came from the TV program. And that's cool. I mean, the animated series was very popular here, and even for a lot of Americans, it was the animated series that's the main, or sometimes the only thing they really saw back then. So you're not alone in that. Yeah, Chris Mahalik, Night Force. Yeah, just all reissued figures. But I mean, some of them, the color change, I feel, is a vast improvement on the original figures. Like Outback, I think, is really great. Night Force Crazy Legs is gorgeous. And I would take that over the original Crazy Legs any old time, any old day. That is a beautiful figure. But you are also correct, for collectors, they're just crazy expensive. Because they were exclusives, there just aren't as many of them out there. And they're desirable to a lot of collectors, so there's a lot of demand for them, at least for specific ones. And for my purposes, I need the figure, the accessories. I also need the file card. And a lot of sellers will have the figure, sometimes for a price that I'm willing to pay for it, but not the file card. That's the thing that gets me. Nyquist asks if Stalker is still my favorite Joe. Yeah, he is. In fact, where is he? There's Stalker right there. There's Stalker from 82, and and there's Stalker from 83. Now, back in, I believe it was 1982, when we had this guy, he just seemed so special. We just, thought this guy was something special. I mean, the camouflage, the beret, it really stood out among all of those 1982 figures. And then, I got into the comic book and saw what Larry Hama did with the character. And that really cemented in my mind the appreciation for Stalker. Nyquist wants to talk about Kung Fu Grip. Okay. Kung Fu Grip, my recollection is that it originated in the UK with Action Man and was imported to the United States. And it's basically just rubbery hands. so those 12-inch figures could actually grip things. I have a couple of the 1960s 12-inch G.I. Joe figures, and they call them the nose picker hands because the hands are like in this pose, and it's actually really difficult to get some of the figures in the hands when they're like this. But Kung Fu Grip is supposed to kind of fix that. So it's basically rubbery hands that are more in like the C shape, and they can hold things better. So there you go. There's a brief commentary on Kung Fu Grip. Okay, Nyquist wants to talk about swivel arm battle grip. Okay, that's what you mean. Swivel arm battle grip. Okay, well, you have your 82 figures that had the straight arm. There were other O-ring figures with this same basic articulation, a lot of them from Mego. Mego did figures for MASH and for Chips and other stuff like that, licensed figures that had this basic design, and they all had, just had elbows. And in the era of Star Wars, 5 points of articulation, this was fantastic. I mean, you had guys with knees, you had guys with elbows. This was great. This was posability at its finest in 1982. But there are some things that the 82 figures could not do. For instance, they could not put two hands on their guns, on their rifles. So then you have an update in 83. All of the new release figures in 83 had swivel arm battle grip, so they could actually swivel their arms and hold their weapons with two hands. And then they reissued all the 82 characters, updating that articulation. And I think that's the only time in the line where they actually did that. They actually reissued earlier figures, but updated the articulation. So yeah. True story, the Awe Striker isn't really all-weather environment. Joe will freeze his thumbs off in winter. It's true. I mean, look what happened to Stalker. Look what had happened to Stalker. Look at his thumbs. Oh my God, he froze his thumbs off in winter. Yeah, Secret Rebel, Metalhead in the Deke series. I'm looking forward to reviewing that figure because... yeah, the way he was in the Deke series is strange and kind of hilarious. Well, hey guys, it's closing in on an hour. We've got a couple minutes. I usually try to keep these at about an hour. Plus, like I said, I haven't eaten yet. I got to eat my food. I got to eat my dinner. But I'll keep it going for a couple more minutes just to make sure I had time to say good evening to everyone. And I'm sorry, I wasn't able to keep up with all the comments, so I'm sure I missed some of your questions. I'm sorry about that. Hey, David Fitchner, how you doing? But thanks to everyone for coming. We have almost 100 people in here. That is just incredible to me. And I didn't even advertise this. I didn't post any notices or anything, so thank you all. And thank you, George. From Guatemala. Hello, Guatemala from the United States. Thank you, DT. Yeah, I think that'll about do it, guys. I've got some editing to do, shoot some things that'll go up, I think, next week. And plus I need to eat. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for all your kindness and generosity. Thank you for all your support. I will do it again next week, next Tuesday, same time. So I hope then. But for now, I will say goodnight, and I will shut this thing off.